I think according to the latest figures, the average person in this country now, in a working lifetime, makes $500,000. Average. In a working lifetime. The question is, at the end of the working lifetime, where is it? Now, see, some people have got it, and some people haven't got it. Right? They both earned it, but they both didn't keep it. And part of it is just simply operating on the wrong plan. For financial independence, here's a good book to get, to start giving you some ideas. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon by Clayson, George Clayson. It's a good book to start with on financial independence. Neat little story. Give you some great ideas. Here's the theme of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Learn to live on 70% of your net income. This is just a suggestion plan. Learn to live on 70% of your net income. Now, net simply means after taxes, because that's the only money you get to see anyway, right? Jesus, master teacher, said, pay Caesar first. And in this country, Caesar takes it before we ever see it, right? So, Caesar gets paid. But those were the instructions. Pay Caesar first. Okay? Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. In translating this into kids' language, we call it the care and feeding of the goose that lays the golden eggs. Everybody's got to be taught the care and feeding of the goose that lays the golden eggs. You don't tear up the goose and divide it up. Guys, I got me a handful of feathers. Say, oh no. Somebody else says, I got me a wing. Say, oh no, poor goose. Right? We won't have a goose very long. You must care and feed the goose that lays the golden eggs. And you say, well, the goose eats too much. Well, that may be true. Maybe we all pay a little too much in taxes, I'm sure. Right? The president is trying to get through the Congress some way to reduce our taxes so the goose won't eat too much. And every goose has an inclination to eat too much, right? So the government spends too much money. The goose is overweight. I understand that. But we're all a little over, right? Everything by longevity tends to get off course. Everything. Everything needs to be corrected. And that's just part of life. The longer something goes, the more tendency it is to eat a little too much, indulge a little too much, try to gather up a little too much power. You know, that's just natural, right? And the government's the same way, right? You hire somebody to be a servant in your house, and now they want to take over. You say, no, I hired you to take out the trash, not to run the house. But sure enough, by longevity, right? People just gather up. You know, more power and whatever. And then it's got to be corrected, put back in place. Everything needs to be corrected. Our diets, our lives, our friendships, marriage, everything tends to get off course. Goes along pretty good and starts to drift. Got to bring it back, starts to drift. Bring it back, starts to drift. That's just part of life. So the goose does overeat. I understand that. And perhaps, you know, we do pay too many taxes. And the government does, you know, spend some of our money a bit recklessly. I understand that. But see, Jesus did say you've got to take care of Caesar. Because part of Caesar's responsibility is to be the goose that lays the golden eggs. We do have to have a society. We do have to have a government, or you have no market. Okay. And among the governments of the world, we do have to protect ourselves. Because somebody's got to pay for the radar. And the Polaris submarines. And the B-52s. And the missiles. Somebody's got to pay. See, I don't mind picking up my share of the radar. You know, and hire somebody to watch it. And make sure they stay over there. You got to do that. So you got to care and feed the goose. Mr. Schultz taught me to be a happy taxpayer. Now that was a whole new thing for me. Be a happy taxpayer, not a reluctant taxpayer. Okay, you got to care and feed the goose. And in this country, of course, for a portion of our incomes, maybe it's a little too much, but pay it happily anyway. Maybe they'll straighten it out and it'll come down a little bit. Or whatever. Just pay it gladly. To know that we've got to have the Army and the Navy and the Air Force and the submarines and the battleships. We've got to have a show of strength. We've got to be a leader among the free world. We really do. And all that's got to be paid for. So I don't mind picking up my share. And everybody ought to pay their share. In my personal opinion, the poorest of the poor ought to pay federal income taxes, if it's only $1 a year, so they have the sense of contributing to the care and feeding of the goose instead of just taking. They also contribute at least $1 a year, the poorest of the poor, so that they have a sense of helping to pay for the safety and the security of the country. Because see, with our present Navy and Army and Air Force and the governmental structure and what safety we do have around the world, keeps us here secure in our homes, right, where we can work and enjoy each other's, commerce possibilities, trade goods and services, and make money, enjoy ourselves, and have parties. Now, somebody's willing to do all that out there while we're here having fun, making money, and having parties. I don't mind picking up my share of the tab. Okay. So, Caesar's first. Pay Caesar first. Then, what you got left after Caesar needs to be divided up. And the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, gives you some suggestions on how to divide up your money and where to put it, so that you'll have a good plan. Everybody needs a financial plan. Because here's how you surely wind up broke. Spend all you make. So you just wind up broke. Now, in those early days, way back there, I spent more than I made. That's why I'm making it down to budget. Finance. To finance the deficit in my spending. Okay. Some suggestions on what to do with the money you've got left now after taxes. One is, learn to be enterprising. Profits are better than wages. Everybody should turn part of their income, even if it's from wages, into capital and become a capitalist. The healthier the country becomes is going to be a result of more and more people becoming capitalists, not just letting big business be the capitalist. Now, communism teaches that all capital should be in the hands of the state, and we should take it out of the hands of the individuals because they're too dumb and stupid to know what to do with it. All we want them to do is just show up and do their work and go home and behave themselves, stay out of trouble. And we will take care of the capital, the government. Now, see, in this country, we don't believe that. Communism teaches everybody should blend into the mass to the glory of the state. And we all say, heck with that. The state is the servant, and all glory to the individual. That's what we believe in capitalism. Take the capital and divide it up among all the people, and let the people start a business and start this thing going with commerce and interchange of goods and services. And you will create a dynamic society unprecedented in the history of the world. And we've proven that that's true. But see, communism says, give the state all the capital. And we don't believe that. We believe that everybody ought to be capitalists. Use it in their own way. They'll think of things the state can't think of. And they'll react much quicker than the state will. Right? The state's always 2, 3, 4 years late. Government's always late. And they always spend too much money.